Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Under-20 Rugby Championship. This one's South Africa, who are unbeaten at this stage of the comp. They are facing Scotland, and all South Africa need to go through to the next stage, which would be the semi-finals, is they need a victory here. There are some close groups at the moment, though, so if there was somehow a defeat of the South Africans, that could actually open up the door for someone else to sneak through ahead of them, but they currently sit top of the bunch, 10 points from their first two games, the perfect 10 from those fixtures. England and Australia, they will be playing off in only around an hour and 30 minutes time. That contest will determine who finishes second in this group and potentially who might be able to sneak through to the next stage of the comp as well. But France, they will be taking on the Argentines. So at the moment, everyone is relying on one of those two sides to win by a large margin, and then the other side not to get any sort of bonus point. That is the only way that one of the teams from Pool A or Pool C can sneak through as the non-highest qualifier in their group. New Zealand, they have their big game up against the Irish. Neither of those two sides are safe as of yet either. We will be covering that one on the channel as well. Looking through at the South African lineup, they have got some real skill across the starting lineup, but they have got a change in the number 9 jersey. Hassim Peed has been absolutely tearing it up for the Junior Boks, but we see Everson moving to that number 9 jersey. Reed, Skorman and Erasmus, they will be the front row alongside Grobelaar and Finta. In the locking duo, Bayela moves to 6, Romao at 7 and Linde slotting in as the number 8. As I mentioned, Everson, he is in the 9 jersey. Moyo is still at 10, and his kicking has been sensational throughout this competition. In the midfield, it is Malgas alongside Cupido, and then out on the wings, Jaco Williams on one side, Cheswell Juster, who is one of the quickest players, if not the quickest, across this whole competition, and it is Minto as the number 15. So drastic changes for the South African side, and I do think that is down to trying to rest a few guys as well as give new men an opportunity just in case they are needed in those important playoff games. But of course, that is saying that South Africa are going to make it that far, and first of all, to do so, they have to win this game, and if they don't win it, they at least have to get 1 or 2 bonus points just to feel relatively safe in the next stage of the competition. In this Scottish lineup, there are, of course, 15 men taken to the field, but one that a lot of people are keeping an eye on is that number 7, Freddie Douglas. He has the most turnovers out of any player in the under-26 nations. He partners with Duncan and Logan in the loose forward trio. Will be Fife and Moss in the locking duo with Jake Shearer, Seb Stephen, and then also Jamie Stewart in the front row too. They have currently got the State of Origin celebrations, but as soon as they are finished, we will be straight into the coverage of this contest. The last couple of games have been played in over 30 degrees Celsius temperatures, so they will certainly be feeling it out there on the field as well. Patterson and Coates will be the 9 and 10 combination. Hocking and Hunter in the midfield. Then out on one wing, it is going to be Cameron Van Wyk. Out on the other, Moncrief. And then at number 15, it is Jack Brown to finish off the starting Scottish side. But we'll look through at their recent fixtures as well as looking through at the sleeper. Hi, Hamish, do you ever sleep? I don't sleep a lot at times, I will mention. We are actually going to be doing the All Blacks team announcement at around 12 p.m. New Zealand time, so that is in around 11 hours. So this is currently the time that I would normally sleep, but the Under-20 Rugby Championships is on. So we're going to be doing those games on the channel. Instead, New Zealand versus Ireland, the next game that I am going to be covering, that one's happening just around the corner. But for South Africa, they have been able to score a very impressive 105 points from their first 2 games. They were able to beat the defending champions England, which puts them now in the box seat for being able to go through to the semi-finals. The State of Origin was nice, says Paul there, and goes South Africa. And also, hi Hamish, says Jan Finta. And their turn soon, the IRB will have to extend the IRB rankings to make space for Wales. They are going down, tragic. Yeah, and having a most recent loss to the Japanese certainly it's not helped those rankings. We see for Scotland, their first game of the Under-20 World Champs was not successful up against the English, 56 points to 19. They held on quite nicely in that second half, but still wasn't quite what they would have liked for their opening contest there. They did lose by 10 points in their next game, 34 points to 24 up against the Australians, which by chance, when you look at how Australia sat up against the South Africans, moving into this one, it is going to be a pretty tough one. South Africa under 20 barely won up against Australia, says ARC. But that's the thing, like the last time that they played in the Rugby Championship, only a few months ago, we did actually see Australia beat the South Africans. So drastic turnaround for just a couple months. Perhaps South Africa took a lot from that game, worked out what they needed to improve upon, and have done just that. Looking at, of course, what games are taking place this weekend while we're at it. South Africa playing Scotland at this time. This is the other match that overlaps, Wales versus Spain. Neither of those sides can actually make it through to the next stage, but it can affect the rankings moving into the playoff matches as well. We have got New Zealand. Seen me. Oh, I'm back. Hello, everyone. The Wi-Fi cut out, but we're back now for this one. What I was saying was New Zealand, Ireland, as well as England, Australia do overlap. So we are going to be covering New Zealand, Ireland on the channel, and with that, we will also provide updates of that England versus Australia game. Georgia versus Italy, that is happening at the end, but it won't really determine who goes through. But that France versus Argentina game, if both sides score a lot of points and one of them is within the 7, it's game over for everyone else who is sitting in number 2 in their groups tables. We have got there, did he just freeze or is my internet slow? It was my end of the deal that did go wrong, but we're back now, hopefully, for the rest of this game. Yep, South Africa owned them last time around. Going to follow on the telly. Thanks, Kiwi lads, and enjoy. Says ARC. They are just showing the standings of each of the groups. We can actually do the same, ladies and gents. There we go. Those are the ways that these groups are sitting. South Africa sitting in number 1 in Pool A. France and Argentina, whoever wins that game, will finish at the top of their group. And then Pool C, New Zealand at the top. But if Ireland get themselves a win, New Zealand are unable to get a couple bonus points. Could be the Irish making their way through to the next stage in that group. But they are just showing this one. South Africa versus Scotland. Like I mentioned, Freddie Douglas definitely one to keep an eye on. And then if you're looking at any of the South Africans, the fact that they haven't got their regular in the number 2 jersey, Nebelele, he will be making his way off the bench instead. I do think that the later stages of this game, we will see South Africa become so much more dangerous. Same with Erasmus, Pede off the bench too, Halkane, Theron. It's pretty much the starting guys coming off of that reserve, whereas for Scotland, still some pretty handy options off that bench, but I think that this game for them will either be won or lost in the first maybe about 15 to 20 minutes. If they are not competitive and South Africa start to run away with it, could be the end of the day for this Scottish side. And the thing is, they're a pretty handy side. When we look throughout the under-26 nations, they can put in some pretty solid performances. The South African side at the moment, they are playing on another level. And you just wonder whether or not this will be another big win going the way of the Junior Boks. But do let me know, of course, your score predictions for this match, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going South Africa. I don't want to be too harsh on Scotland because I do think that they played a lot better up against the Australians once they had that game under their belt. I think with the changes that we're seeing here too, I'm going to go 45-26. I'm going to have to write that down or else I will forget it. 45-26. And that is in favour of South Africa. Be sure to put in your predictions as well, ladies and gents. I will star them all and we'll see who was closest at the end of this contest. Now, of course, if South Africa get on a roll, there is a chance they could get more than 45. If Scotland stay competitive, there is a chance that we could see both sides round that mid-20s mark. But, like I said, this Junior Boks team are firing on all cylinders throughout this competition. Beating the defending champs, England, in their last contest will certainly give them a confidence booster heading into this game, even with the changes that they have made to their starting lineup. And also the news, Lozi not going to be returning for the rest of this competition. The winger for South Africa, who ended up injured in this last match up against the English. We see Freddie Douglas on screen. Like I said, the most turnovers won out of any player in the Guinness under-26 nation. South Africa just need to keep the pressure on them as soon as they just are going to lay against Scotland. They will struggle, says Jan. And 55-20. Is that in favour of South Africa or in favour of Scotland? Timothy, out of curiosity. 44-16 as LFG's prediction. Afternoon, Hamish. Boks will never write off your opposition. Boks, but never write off your opposition, says Ruth. And there as well, but we are just about to have the national anthems of these two sides. 40 points to 32 in favour of the Boks, says Ruth there. So not many people picking Scotland at this stage to be able to win this matchup. But the green and gold kit for South Africa. Scotland in the kind of white and light blue for this match. 22-3 for the Baby Boks. All going a little bit lower scoring in that regard. 40 points to 17 for South Africa. I read the SC at the end, but didn't see the SA at the start. Well, strong boys, says Ruth. And there as well, but the national anthem being sung. The weather they have mentioned is a little bit cooler than the last couple days, but I do still think that they'll need that drinks break at around the 20 minutes. Get the players refreshed. So South Africa 55, Scotland to the 20, says Timothy. And there as well, we'll see whether or not all of us are correct or every single one of us will be wrong, because I think everyone has backed South Africa up till this stage. Have we got anyone brave enough to back Scotland to cause a massive upset here? We have to wait and see. The South African side, we had to pick a try scorer to keep an eye out for. I do think that Moyo, to be fair, he's had a lot of parts to play in tries, but he hasn't scored one himself, so perhaps this game can find his way over the line. But I'm going Cheswell Uster. He's too fast. Anytime he gets some space, he's just gone like a rocket. I'll be the old one out and predict a glorious Scotland victory. I may be a tad biased though, says Sarah. And there as well. But the thing is, if they did get the upset victory, that would make this group very, very intriguing. And Cheswell Uster, man for the future. Yeah, I mentioned about it on, I think it was that Springboks lineup. That Springboks live stream up against the Italians. Because someone was saying about how South Africa have the quickest winger pairing in World Rugby. And I asked the question whether or not they were talking about the under-20s, because like Uster just goes. And then unfortunately on the other side, Ndrozi has picked up an injury. So he will be absent from this game and the rest of the competition. But in this game, they've stuck Jaco Williams in his place. South Africa 47, Scotland 24, says Marinda. And they're doing, I don't think the score could be higher with the changes made. Also going to be a slow game, says Ray. Although the guys off the bench, I think, will definitely ramp it up for South Africa. So it's whether or not these guys in the starting 15 can get some momentum before, you see someone like a Hassim Pede and a Klakane and Nebelele. He's going to get probably a try. An upset ain't impossible. We have seen some of them on the worst time ever. But we must have faith, says Jan. And South Africa 52 to Scotland's 13, says Steve there. Do you think any South African under-20 could make the Rugby Championship squad or too soon? Too soon, I'd say. Like, these guys would have only just finished playing in their competition. They've still got a couple more weeks. And also, like, for Rassi, he's already got enough guys in the squad, in the extended squad. He doesn't need to bring in anyone else as of yet. I think that Vusi Moyo could be one for the future. I think Nabelele will probably get himself a Curry Cup contract, if not maybe even a training URC role. Uster, they'd be dumb not to sign him to a side with the amount of pace that he has got. But Flouro Scotland is being sung. Looks like a few Scottish supporters in the stands. This match taking place in Spain. And Cheswell and Pede, both future Boks. I can see it, says Ray. And Baby Boks will run riot, says LFG there. And if the Boks score first, it could be a hard game for the Scots. Who knows, says Ruth. Yeah, it was quite a competitive one between Scotland and Australia in the later stages, but then just running away with it at the end, Australia. Who knows, maybe if Scotland had won that game, they'd have a little bit more determination heading into this match. But Flouro Scotland's been sung, so has the South African national anthem. Have you watched So Yet? I assume that State of Origin? Not yet. I know the score, though, as it's pretty hard to avoid when you do a live stream at the same time. But yeah, I don't think the Blues quite performed the way that people wanted them to for that third match. Definitely in front of the home crowd. How's the weather looking out there? It's looking very nice. Sun is out. They mentioned about a little bit of a temperature drop, but I'd say it's still like 25 degrees, if not maybe a little bit warmer. The sun is absolutely blaring, and it looks like a fantastic afternoon for a bit of rugby. But one of these two sides at the end of this game, if it is Scotland, that is, will know that they will not make it through to the semi-finals. If South Africa win, they will be awaiting to find out who they will face in the next stage of the competition. And it looks like South Africa will be receiving the kickoff from Scotland. Ben Breakspear of Wales, the referee who is in charge. So, if you haven't already, be sure to give a first try scorer prediction. We're just about underway now. Scotland have to start well. And whether or not that is with Freddie Douglas, he could be one to keep an eye on. You've got Jack Brown in the number 15 jersey. Hunter in the midfield alongside Jack Hocking. Are they playing the Avengers theme song? I haven't watched any of the Marvel movies, but I think that's what they're playing at the moment in the loudspeaker. Let's go to Bok. Says Heather. Scotland. Ready to kick this one off. Scotland barely qualified for this comp, so hard to see them winning. But that's the thing. We've already seen a couple upsets along the way. Remember me being offline for a while, being offline for a while. I do indeed, mainly because of your name and the fact that it is, I assume, a modern Pelican reference. Now nicely taken by South Africa, who are driven into touch straight off the bat by the Scottish, and a little bit of wrestling going on now out there on the wing. So Moncrief trying to fire himself up as Baby Blacks lost to, or if Baby Blacks lost to Ireland, we get a bonus point and Ireland don't. They just get the win. What does that mean for the table? If they're on the same points, Ireland would go through due to their head-to-head result. And then points differential comes in afterwards. Does Ruth even have a job? How is she online here at 4 p.m. on a Wednesday? I thought she was a Saturday girl. I think her job is relatively breezy in terms of, like, she's probably got a headphone in, something along those lines. Quite a few people do. I'm surprised, but yeah, we've had a lot of people say that they're watching us from work. Scotland managing to retain their own line out with Seb Stephen, who moves about 15 metres out from the try line now for Scotland, moving away Patterson. And who got the ball? Scotland at the moment. They did successfully get their line out correct. Oh, thought about the pick and go there, but Patterson will now move it away to the left-hand side. Tries a little grubber behind. South Africa chasing after it and cleaned up at the back from, it was Mento. And WFH is a thing. Says, I am nutty and who got the ball? Says Raymond. Once again, it was Scotland, but South Africa now have got it for the goal line dropout. And it is going to be the big man Moyo, the number 10 jersey. Part-time and off winter. And South Africa 26 to Scotland's 15, says Peter. So going with that slightly lower score, I think Pete will be the first Springbok scrum half very soon. Says Ray, nice attack and run for from Scotland again. Across Patterson, finding Moss on the outside. This is working not too badly. Irwin finding, I believe it would have been Arthur Hunter, is it? Or Angus? It might be Angus Hunter, in fact, at 13. Now 25 metres out from the line. Short side again. Patterson goes to Brown, whose name I like saying very much. Off to the left-hand side. Charging forward for Seb Stephen. I'm on leave 1 week to go. And who do you think will win? I think South Africa have a very good chance, but Scotland have started this match pretty nicely. 2.5 minutes in, and they have not really given South Africa too much of a chance on attack. I see a Baby Box France final. Says Ray, flat ball, almost through, but last-ditch tackle made from Bayela. Now Irvin goes back across. Sitting about 22 metres still from the line. Big run from Fife. Well, says Kiwi Rob. Now back across by Scotland. Trying the cross kick. Sits. Oh, it's taken by South Africa. This is dangerous now because this is where they can find a full field try. Kick downfield. And now chasing after it. He will score it. That is how dangerous this young Junior Boks team is. It is Jaco Williams. That is exactly what they've done to all of their opposition in this competition. If you make one mistake, they will make you pay. And Irvin went for the cross kick. Seemed like a good idea at the time, but Jaco Williams, he's too fast to be able to catch after giving the ball straight into his hands. What a try, says LFG. I'd rather be home watching Kiwi lads than slogging for that French boss. And Williams, says Ray. And so South Africa qualified for the sevens, for the semis, even if they lose. Saying that they beat Australia and England in the pools. Says Johan. I believe so, yes. As I do think that no matter what happens, the points differential can't quite get them away. Now lining up this kick, Moyle. He's had a very good kicking day. Who has got the ball? I'm starting to think, Raymond, you may not know any of the players in either of these sides, but that is all right. South Africa take the conversion, and they will now lead 7 points to 0. So now the kickoff will be in Scotland's hands, as they will kick it towards the South Africans at O. Moyo off the tee, says Ray. Yeah, very accurate, that man. Doesn't miss too often at all. Who's this commentator? There's a random bloke that we didn't hear throughout the first 10 minutes of commentary, and now he's just started talking. I assume he's like the analysis fella. Now nicely taken inside of the 22 by South Africa. Yeah, Bot, keep it up. Says Jan there. Now, nicely taken. Scotland on the halfway line. Kick downfield from Jack Brown. And well marked inside of the 22. Good afternoon, Hamish. Well, look at you looking smart. Says Cynthia. Yeah, I did lose a forfeit last weekend. South Africa did not beat Italy by the margin that they should have. So, I now look like this. Our Ireland playing next. They are up against New Zealand, and we are covering that game on the channel. People finish the game in the second half. Says Kanya. Yeah, alongside Klakane, Nebelele. I've got plenty of those guys. Erasmus making his way off the bench too. A line out throw here for Seb Stephen. Oh, over the top of the line out. Charging forward for that one was Schoolman, who has been able to claim it. And South Africa now in possession once again, going off to the left-hand side. And also, whoop, whoop, let's keep going, Boks. Says Heather. Oh, bit of a loose ball there. Knock on by South Africa. They have now conceded the first scrum of the day. Hey, Hamish, thanks for the commentary. Says Daryl, no worries at all. We will be covering the next game for South Africa on the channel as well, as it will be a semi-final. What time is that on Irish time? What's the time now in Ireland, Connor? Because it is happening in 1 hour and 2 hours, 23 minutes. So whatever that time would be for you in 2 hours, 23, that is what time that game starts. It might be 5 p.m., but I could be wrong. Now, ball is going to be fed in now for Hector Patterson. Scotland, they'll be frustrated because they had the better of those first 3 minutes, but just giving the ball away was not the smart move. And pass to Cheswell. He's got a Porsche engine on his feet. Says Ray now going to the short side. Patterson showing a little bit of pace of his own. Pops it on the inside. Finds Duncan. And driven backwards there. Oh, going for the kick in behind. Well read by South Africa. Watch out. Here comes Euster. Gets through one. Uses his speed. They are going to have a hard time catching him. He kicks it in behind. But Scotland just getting back as Jack Brown. In fact, this time it was the 10, Matthew Irvin. Right. So again, South Africa on the counter-attack was going to be absolutely lethal. Coming up to 2:40. So yeah, it will be a 5 p.m. kickoff in Ireland. Now, Irwin will have the goal line drop out. Cheswell's too good. Says Ray, he's just got enough pace that no one can quite line him up. Charging forward now. Or South Africa moving up to 25 metres out. It was Ramal. Now trying to get that penalty advantage for not rolling away. And that is exactly what they've done. Ball on the inside to Ollie Reid. Oh, that looked like an illegal clean out from South Africa. But it will be play on just for now. Jaco Williams, the try scorer. Moves to 22 out. How's it, Hamish? Good on you. After this, I made a plan to come on the channel to follow. The game's still working though, says Clinton. And we are going to be covering New Zealand versus Ireland as well. Looks like there's a boot missing for one of the players. All right, they're going to go back for the original penalty. This is an easy three-pointer if South Africa want it. Will that be on TV in Ireland? I have absolutely no idea, seeing as I'm watching it in New Zealand. And who got the ball, says Raymond. South Africa did. I'd recommend maybe looking at the lineups for a bit of reference. Now this ball going to be kicked towards the touchline from Moyo, who is South African. Sitting about 10 metres out from the line now. They will have the line out opportunity. Moyo can kick, says Ray, although they turned it down in this one. On out for Jandre Schoeman. And this is where the rolling maul can be so dangerous. Scotland, they didn't do too bad defending it at times up against Australia, but they haven't jumped up for that one, and already this one moving towards the line for South Africa. They are over, and that is now the second try of the contest for the Junior Boks. And Speedster gets away from them, says Roof, and running so fast he lost a shoe. Would have taken a kick to the post, says Ray. Although they have been rewarded with more points from going for the corner, obviously back in their rolling maul to go over the top. That is just what they've done. Freezing, cold wind, sunshine, but rain predicted again. And a whoop whoop, says Mark. A long time no discussion. I don't know if you remember me, says Charles. I do indeed. But yeah, it's been a while. I want to say, was it URC or was it Six Nations? Somewhere around there, I think it was, Charles. I could be wrong. In fact, it could have even been before that. Now, stepping back to take a kick here, Moyo. And oh yes, Box, says Heather. Yeah, already sitting 12-0 up at this stage of the match. And he's missed. He doesn't often miss, but that'll make the score 12-0 after the 10 minutes. And come on the Box, says Bromvin. Yeah, that rolling maul. Scotland just pretty much wheeled around the side and left a perfect path for them to be able to go straight through. Scotland ready to kick this one off again. Going high into the 22 and Supro. Says Bromvin in there too. Now, kick downfield from Jaco Williams. Now, Jack Brown at the back. On the halfway line, South Africa defend him. Force him back a little bit. Did they miss the kick? They did indeed, yes. And oops, we will get another chance, says Heather. Oh, and a little knock on from Scotland in the breakdown. Patterson's frustrated. He knows what this means. It means that South Africa get another attacking opportunity and a good position on the field. Just seems to be that pressure in the breakdown at the moment, so he tried to play it back and then just knocked on. And Scots have to dig deeper. I think that's easier said than done. Oh, we got the ball, says Raymond. So now we've got a scrum. The ball was dropped by Patterson, like I said. So now South Africa have got it. As Africans like scrums, they certainly do. Definitely with the pack size of this under-20s team. Oh, yes, says Heather. Now, ball fed in. And that's a big push coming from South Africa. Couldn't Sahara be here for Scotland? Says, oh, another line break, one moment going through. Thought about the pass, but goes by himself. Frustration by Jaco Williams, who felt like he was through, but a little bit of indecisiveness from the halfback Everson, but they will use the back line anyway. Through the gap, South Africa go. And this time it is Malgas in that number 12 jersey. He does get another one. We have got there. How many of the Rugby World Cup 2025 are you thinking of doing considering the time difference? I have not even looked at the schedule as of yet. They'll be digging with plastic spades. Says Justin there. And Paul Scott's that knock-on was a setback for sure. Says Kim Trade. And Sion Lozzie is injured and out of the squad. We actually need him in this game, says Kanye. Although the man who replaced him, Jaco Williams, has already scored once and could have scored twice had it not been for Everson not passing to him. So I think the benefit that they've got at the moment is they've got some pretty decent depth. Don't get me wrong, though. If they lost Juster in this game down to injury, that would be a big hit as well. 7-6 to Wales, says I am nutty. And geez, another try indeed, yes. And Moyo, this is a nice easy kick out in front of the sticks. So he gets it over at 19 points to 0 after 13 minutes. Starting rugby, running rugby, says Jan Fenter. And oh yes, I'm loving it so far. I can tell you who definitely aren't, and that is the Scots. Looking forward to seeing Edward van der Merwe this weekend. You're playing in the number 14 jersey for South Africa up against the Italians. Quite a different looking side. Throwing Rassie, let's make the final already. Well, to be fair, they already have South Africa. And they will be through to the semis at least. And who are we playing in the semis? I don't think it's 100% certain as of yet because it's done off rankings a little bit. So the top 3 go through, but I'm not sure if they've got confirmed groups in that one. And Zara is tuned in, says Sarah there. Now, outside of the 22, so not able to go back across. Who scored the try? The try was scored by the number 12, Dominic Malgas. And also, Jeepers Hamish Scots need to get started sooner rather than later, says Ruth. Yeah, this is already starting to get a little bit ugly. In terms of the score, nice take from Cheswell Euster. Now sits down one of the centres, I believe it was, for Scotland, getting rid of Angus Hunter. Now backline movement across there. Mento ball on the inside. South Africa running rampage again. Moving up to only 30 metres out, but loose on the ground. Scotland get it back and go for a massive kick downfield, but it's booted out on the full. So they'll have to go right back to where it was kicked from. Yeah, mate, I've been so busy. How are you? Looks like you shaved mustache, fashion style, Hamish, we see. Although that was only from last weekend, and that was due to South Africa not beating Italy by a larger margin. Yeah, it's only about 3 or 4 days old, the mustache, and it may only get to about double that age before it comes off. Is B playing today? He's off the bench rather than starting. Moyo, little chipping behind, waiting for the bounce of the ball, gets it as well for South Africa. A couple metres out for Capetto now, going off to the right-hand side. Jaco Williams gets his second try, and South Africa have scored again. It is non-stop action from this Junior Boks side. Sorry about that, happy fingers, says Heather. Why does the wing so good in South Africa? It's just the pure pace that they possess. This is a runaway train, I am telling you. This weekend will be the big score line, says Justin there too. I do expect the ABs to do better against the French. I think so. I think that shock factor, without jinxing it, because I feel like I probably will, but I feel like the shock factor of France's development side now is done. In terms of New Zealand will know exactly what they need to do to fix those errors. And similar to what we saw up against Argentina last year, how they lost the first game, came back, won the second by a lot. Lost the first game up against Australia, won the first game by only about 1 point up against the Aussies, and then came back and won the second by a lot. So normally the second game is where New Zealand do that little bit better. And also South Africa, Amy Barrett Theron will referee the Women's Rugby World Cup 2025 opening match between host England and USA on the 22nd of August. And also afternoon, gents says on the right. Are you guys watching the game other than DSTV? I'm watching on Sky Sport 1 here in New Zealand. I want to say it would be on Rugby Pass for certain locations around the world. And geez, I knew we'd win today, but didn't expect such a big smack bottom, Scotland. And Junior Boks might actually win the championship playing like this, says Kanya. And the big thing is, England may not be in the competition. In about maybe 7 hours' time, we will know whether or not they will go through. Scotland winning the breakdown penalty this time. And they will be able to kick this one towards the sideline. Scott Barrett won't play for the All Blacks. Let's see how we respond to the French. Here's our key player. Says Charles. I thought you had a day job, says on the right. I do. So I'm making a poor decision by staying up all night doing the Under-20 Rugby Championship, but it's what we're going to be doing. Plus, I always do the All Blacks lineup announcement around lunchtime. So it just means that I'm going to be working in the afternoon rather than working in the morning. So what will happen is we'll do this game. We'll do Ireland versus New Zealand, and then we'll end up sleeping for probably about 4 hours, get back up, and then do the All Blacks lineup. And Baby Blacks playing England? No. So England are playing Australia in this group. I'll quickly get the table up while we are at it. Scotland did get to kick that one towards the corner. They have now got themselves, they had themselves the line out 5 metres out from the line, but now in fact it's going to be South Africa's line out due to a bit of a mistake there from Scotland. But yeah, New Zealand in the group with Ireland. So that is who they will be playing. And then England have got Australia. Now, be sure to keep a close eye on that second place in each of the groups, because the best placed second team do go through to the next round. So in this case, England still in the running. Australia theoretically still in the running. Argentina in the box seat. And then Ireland as well as New Zealand still theoretically in the running for that next spot as well. Right, kick downfield from South Africa will now be another line out for Scotland. And 26 in the first 17 minutes. And don't forget that South Africa lost to New Zealand after starting fast. Says Kiwi Rob, and it looks like Argentina or France are primed to be best in place. True. And all they need is one extra bonus point to confirm the next spot too. So, yeah, a bit on the line for the teams. Although, theoretically, if Ireland won and New Zealand got two bonus points, they could still sneak ahead of France or Argentina, but Fenta getting over the ball, winning the penalty for his side. That is Morne Fenta. South Africa can now kick to touch. Where you guys watching, says Ron. I'm watching on Sky Sport 1 here in New Zealand. I just got here. Looks like it's going to be a close one, says MB. Kick towards the sideline. Oh, almost bounces into touch, but Scotland claim it at the back with Jack Brown. Now, out on the full again from Scotland. They cannot afford to be giving up this much territory to a side that have already got 4 tries in 19 minutes. Yako Williams is so good today. Says Ray and Pool A is a very tough pool. Other pools have small fish, but there are no small fish in Pool A. Says on the right. And it is just the way that they're drawing it up, which is why that game between England and South Africa was so crucial for both of the teams. And for South Africa, the fact that they stopped England from getting bonus points from that game pretty much, unless something drastic happens, has knocked England out of the comp. So they don't have to worry about playing them again. The Scots need to regroup psychologically, otherwise this is the end. And how we doing, Hamish? Enjoyed the rugby last weekend? Yeah, it was good overall. We had a lot of intriguing games. I do think that we'll see much smoother performance from a lot of teams this weekend, including South Africa as well as New Zealand. And quickly came to check the score on my way to yoga. Enjoy the game, says Carlin. Well, enjoy yoga as well. One thing that I cannot claim to be is flexible. So I would say I'll pull about 15 muscles trying to do yoga in the first crack. No worries, Scotland. When they grow older, you can put a fast one and get the South African players play for Scotland like you and Ireland do. Says MB. And AB's to devour France this weekend. Says Dan. Line out throw for Skirman. And it looks like the line out number is wrong. Scotland told to drop one. Now we are back for another line out. This is where South Africa got themselves try number 2. Can't wait to see Ethan Hooker in a Bok jersey. Says Ray. Oh, another boot fell off. South Africa, 1 metre short, but then they dive over. And this time it is Ollie Reid who gets the try. Another one. This is try number 5 for the South Africans. This is absolutely brutal for Scotland here. I don't want to say it because I don't want to jinx it, and I also don't want to be too harsh on the Scottish. But are we going to see our first 100 points here? 100 today for the Springboks, says MB. And does the tournament include knockout stages? It does. So the semi-finals will be taking place just around the corner. South Africa will be playing, I believe it is on Monday. And says Carlin, yeah, I think the century could be on here if Scotland can't slow them down, because that is now 5 tries. It's taken 4 minutes a try at this stage, which means they could get the 100 without the conversions. But I hope not. I hope Scotland have something in them, because I know that we all gave predictions before the game. The highest that anyone predicted South Africa to win with was 55. And I believe about 50% of our predictions are already out the window by predicting too low for South Africa. And I'm for that century, says Daryl, and Phil, for those poor Scottish lads, this is not on their to-do list today, says Sir. And Boks also to do better. Not sure about Morat, though. He is the guy that is the most talked about, I have learned. Like, that was probably about 70% of the comments, people saying that they didn't want Morat in the side. I've got a feel for the guy, don't you? He just gets absolutely bullied, no matter whether he's playing in a starting lineup or missing. Now, all penalty goes the way of Scotland. All Blacks versus Ireland will be an interesting game, and 100 points. I know you didn't just say that as a Scot. I took that personally, says Sarah. Yeah, sorry. But Scotland might get some points here. They might get a try. Hopefully. Beer chugging contest in the second half. The Scots have a shot there, says MB. And Joe Aplone told Rassi lack of access to rugby infrastructure equipment when growing up leads to focus developing skills like stepping and running around opponents rather than scrumming, cleaning out, says Rod. 100 would be fantastic. And Century could be on. What do you think? Or what do you think will happen after that in the second half? I think if they get to 100, it's only going to be marginal, like a last try gets them there. Sounds like a sub is about to be made. And that is going to be, Right. This is interesting, ladies and gents. Vusi Moyo has gone off. Now, is that a strategic sub? But by the sounds of it, it could be an HIA. If he fails his HIA, he's out for the rest of this competition and South Africa lose their kicker. That's huge. And I know that this game, of course, they're looking for a huge scoreline, but their huge injuries could also come into play. They've been told to use it once. That ball's not coming out of there. South Africa had about 5 men round him in the rolling maul. So the sport not showing the game as advertised. Really, that's not ideal. And if they're not, then surely Rugby Pass would have it then, if South Africa haven't got the licensing for it. I was looking like a huge score against Italy. I was coming on the weekend, but it didn't happen. See cool story, bro. And also, so we got going to have the Protea score today from the Baby Boks. And Vusi is fire, says Dan. No, please, says Heather. Yeah, hopefully it is just precautionary, and maybe, even if he passes it, they will chuck him back out. Or sorry, they won't chuck him back out there, seeing as they're already leading by the 33. Rugby Pass shows an error message. Oh. I know that Sky New Zealand lost coverage for about 25 seconds about 10 minutes ago. Scrum penalty. Goes the way of South Africa again. Yeah, Vusi Moyo, to lose him for South Africa alongside losing Ndlozi last week. Of course, Jaco Williams has scored 2 tries in this game, but yeah, you don't want to be losing those top guys towards these important games. One's going to be kicked onto the roof. Not sure if we are important as a market to World Rugby here in the US. But not helping these games available for us is not helping. Is it on Rugby Pass for you though, MB? Because if it isn't available through a broadcaster, normally Rugby Pass will have it. Domination is an understatement for this performance so far by the Baby Boks. 80 plus is coming if Scotland don't play competitive. But now, Scotland having to defend here again. South Africa on the attack, sitting 45 metres out from their line. The replacement. Oh, Minto takes a big shot there. I know we cannot lose those guys, says Dan, and I'm watching from DSTV Supersport as we speak, says Kim Trade. Now again to the short side, Biella. Currently sitting 33 points on the board after 26 minutes, and a drop ball now from South Africa. Taking some time out from work to catch a podcast because it's fire. Says Alden, do appreciate you being here. We are also going to be here for New Zealand versus Ireland. And it's going to be happening just a little bit later on. So be sure to check that out as well. And Hamish, is the Welsh senior team ever going to win again? It's going to be tough for them. They're in a predicament how up against Japan, that seemed like the best chance. Now they have got another rematch with the Japanese. And perhaps that will go well. Do you ever sleep? I should. But yeah, so much rugby on. So we've got the game after this, Ireland versus New Zealand. I'll manage about 4 hours of sleep, but then I'm getting back up to do the New Zealand lineup for their game up against France, and then I'll be heading to work. So sleeping tomorrow night is the plan. I have 10 apps to watch our sports and Premier League. My wife could kill me if I pay for another app. Rugby Pass is free though. So you should, if it's not available anywhere else, you should be able to see it completely for free. Ball in the hand of, I believe it's Ruben Logan. Your eyes do look a bit sunken there, mate. Says Alden. Yeah, no, that's just from lack of sleep, really. And off to the left-hand side. Scotland going for a little cheeky kick in behind. It's going to be bouncing towards the 50-22. They were celebrating it. And I think that might just be successful for Scotland. What do you do for work? I am a labourer/builder. So that's normally just anything to do with concrete or also fences, but a bit of houses as well. But luckily, my dad is my boss, so he's pretty lenient with my sleep schedule and the working hours. Oh, ball's loose. Sits up now. Oh, that's an ugly collision. That looked like head on head. Jake White for Wales. Could have structure. He could be good, eh, Hamish? He got a badass accent. Says Dylan, do appreciate that. I have to say my favourite name in this whole lineup, though, for Scotland is Jack and then Brune. Like, the Scottish accent just sounds very impressive. Labourer on no sleep is insane. Much respect. Says Xavier Brown. Yeah, it can get pretty brutal at times. But like I said, just too much rugby on, isn't there? Hamish is a vampire. Maybe. No, although I can't go out in the daytime if that's the case. Now, nicely taken. Oh, some bagpipes starting up in Scotland. Or sorry, in this match for Scotland. Is that going to take them to the next level? Big run forward, breaking the line, pass on the inside, play the bagpipes more, Mr. Scottish man, because that is the try to Seb Stephen between the sticks. Oh, well, that's all right. They've got the one in this contest. Nice, easy kick as well. They're showing the man with the bagpipes on the screen. He should have started that 30 minutes ago. Vampires wish Hamish was one of them. When is the All Black squad naming tomorrow? I believe it's still around that same time as last week, which is around 12-ish. I think it was 12:15 last week, if I'm correct. So yeah, we'll be roughly round there. And nice boss that, says Eldon. Kick has gone over from Scotland, making it 33 points to 7. We need Moyo, says Ray. And yeah, he is yet to return. So I want to hopefully think that they'll give us an update. Are you behind or the wrong score showing, says, I always mess up your name, don't I? Oh, wait, it changed from Othiko Oloshi, is it? I love Moyo. And have you heard a Scotsman try say purple burglar alarm? Apparently it's impossible. And but do you think Jake would be good for Wales? I think that Jake White, the thing is, like Bulls fans, some of them, I'm not saying all, were never happy with Jake White from the get-go. So, you know, he got them through to a couple finals, which is still what I would consider a pretty big achievement, and they still wanted to sack him. So if he takes a side that is struggling a little bit, it would not surprise me if that side does well. But Wales are really struggling at this point in time. Who are they playing if they win today, says Mohaden? They will be playing one of the other sides in the semi-finals, but none of them have been confirmed as of yet. It could be France, it could be Argentina. Big run forward now, up the middle of the field, passed on the outside. Minto with the counter-attacking try yet again for South Africa. And that'll now be try number 6 for the Junior Boks. I guess Malgas is the box kicker at the moment, says Kanya. Yeah, I think that's actually the first try we've seen them score since Moyo went off, isn't it? So we are just about to find out. In fact, sorry, it was Cupido who scored that rather than Minto. The assist does actually go to Malgas there. I like Jake. He's a great strategist. And Scott's on the board. And White Wales, is he okay health-wise? Looks stressed, says Ruth. So off the kicking tee, it's actually going to be the man who straight swapped with him. So that is Ian van der Merwe. I love the box, says Heather. And the Scottish try fire the Bockies up more now. Currently 32 through this contest. The kick is successful. Now sitting 40 points to 7. It is the equivalent of a full-time score. And we still have another 48 minutes of rugby. I'm trying to see if anyone got kind of close to the score. Not really. Like I mentioned, the highest score that was given to South Africa in this game was 55 in our predictions. There you go, van der Merwe. And also, that was nice while it lasted. Hope that Piper has good lungs. He's our only hope, says Sarah. He seems to have only done it for like those couple minutes, so maybe he's saving it for when he thinks that there's going to be a try. So he should start now because Scotland on the counter-attack. Oh no, they're going to kick it back. Jack Brown goes down the middle of the field. Now, again, kicked downfield by the blitz box. Does pull up. Side of the 22. Irwin. And how's Hamish, says Anthony. Doing very well. Hope you are excited for not just this game, of course, but also the upcoming under-20s games, the weekend matches. 3% are here. I voted for a draw. Do they go to a kick-out in the under-20s when it's a draw? I don't believe so. I think it is just the draw's the draw. Now kicked in a touch. Not a massive amount of territory gained for Scotland, but South Africa now find themselves 25 metres out from the line. And Jealous Wakeys. They could call the team. And also we have got the, what is your dream coming out of this YouTube channel? Maybe you want to be an official New Zealand TMO or commentator. Or maybe you just want to be the #1 rugby channel in New Zealand. I'll be honest, I don't really have any any sort of goals or anything, which I probably should. But at the same time, the channel goal originally, when we started it, was to somehow reach 1,000 subscribers, which seemed impossible. So the fact that we're above that now, I think, I'm happy. I still work alongside this, so maybe being able to do it full time, but at the moment, that's not really a possibility in terms of the amount of expenses that go into the channel, in terms of subscriptions and everything like that. But I have well and truly accepted that. I wouldn't want to be a TMO. That would be one of the worst jobs in the world because all you get is abused. And same with the referee. Now 6 minutes remaining in the first half, looking for the step through the middle for Cupedo. Oh, that was close. To the try line again. Little bit of pressure coming Scotland. Giving away another penalty advantage. Everson wanted the try. The way that Everson's playing, all that's over. And it is another try for South Africa. I was going to say, the way that Everson, when he's close to the line, is trying to score, for me, it shows he's trying to take that starting spot from HCMP, but it's not quite going his way at the moment. He thought he was going to be over. Jean Erasmus, though, he scores it instead. 45 on the board now for South Africa. And the Wales-Spain score is close, says Heather. It's been about goals, who is the new Bulls coach. I'm not actually too sure. To all the Scottish fans here today, I was so sorry, it's nothing personal. Says Darryl score now is 45 points to 7. Average for Sky Sports are much better than a lot of pundits on there already, says Dan. Now, another line out. Another kick at the post. I think you have a good chance of working with Sky Sport. Although the thing with Sky is a lot of the guys that they've got at the moment, and the future guys as well, I believe will be ex-rugby players. Oh, miss kick from Van der Merwe, so that puts me way behind in that department. Surely the Boks don't score 50-plus points in the first half, right? Well, they only need one more try to be able to do it. It seems like Scotland have no plan at all. They just drift along like a log in a river. Not good if you ask me, says Kim Trade. Although log floating along a river is quite handy if you're drowning. Right, they're saying about Oliver Duncan, about some head contact. Have you read some of Ben Smith's columns, Hamish? That guy really doesn't like the Boks, says Dan. Yeah, although I think there is a Ben Smith for every country. Like, all you got to do is look on social media and you see the brutalness and the roughness of some fans. Now kicked high from Everson. Lining up this one, slapping it back. Scotland, I think they might have knocked that on. Yes, they did. I'm glad you didn't shave the mustache. Now we can give you the nickname Snore, says Ander. And score now, says Mohadeen. Score is 45 points to 7. Just the 3 minutes remaining in this first half, which I would say is a massive bonus at this point in time for the Scottish. They will definitely want to get into half-time. That's true. How many of those All Blacks have over 50k subs on YouTube? Says Pro Pleb. No, instead they've got over 50 caps. Normally in about 150 provincial ones. I think I just talk fast. As annoying as Ben Smith is, not as annoying as Kim Pesey, says Xavier. He seems to be a rugby fan and not necessarily a a New Zealand supporter. It's refreshing and good to listen to. This must be a boring game, says Bopello. I mean, it's a one-sided game. There's been some very exciting tries scored by South Africa, though. Taking the quick down now. Here comes Everson again. He sees a gap this time, trying to run through it. Oh, no, Freddie Douglas managed to hold him up and take him down. Knock on there from South Africa in the breakdown. Yeah, Everson's trying to get that starting spot off Pete, as he should be. At the end of the day, you want to see that competitiveness across the nines. And a guy the Boks is burning Lash. And there's well, and score going to be 70, says Mukhadin, and go the Boks, says Heather. And there as well. What I am quickly going to do, ladies and gents, is we're going to have a quick wee look and see what the score is. Oh, the other game's very close. The sad reality, though, is neither of those two sides can go through to the next stage of the competition. We're going to see 100 today, says Dan. See, I'm not going to put any facial hair on the line for it, though, because that didn't go well for me last time, as I did lose my beard. I think that Ben Breakspears just giving them a little bit of a lesson on discipline here for Scotland. You haven't seen Moyo return to the field. You just wonder whether or not, even if he did pass the HIA, they may decide to just leave him off. Not worth risking his injury at this point in time. Now, just a little bit of a stoppage. We didn't actually have the drinks break around the 20 minutes, I don't believe, although both sides are having a bit of a drink now with 2 minutes. Right, so Wales is weak in the under-20s as well. They're actually a little bit stronger in their under-20s than they are in the pro team at the moment, I would say. Some good young players coming out of Wales. Unfortunately, though, it's just not as many as some other countries. If they ever get 150, you go bald, surely. But the thing is, what if they do it? I feel like if they don't get 150, though, I need to get some sort of reward. Because, like, going bald is a big risk. For me, that is. I'm laughing. I mean, you look good without the mustache. Says Heather. And also, what's Scott's doing wrong here? There's been quite a bit. Unfortunately, they have been outpaced throughout this match. Now, big scrum feed. Scotland managing to hang on to it. Go the Bocky, says Charles. Now breaking through for Scotland. Now back across the left-hand side. The Scottish side, they will tire. I'll drop a $10 dono. Right. So if Scotland... Wait, is it if they lose by that, or if South Africa, it's just if they get to 150? And if they don't, I get a $10 donation. I think I will accept, I hope, that it doesn't go wrong. South Africa currently do have possession, Wales senior. The thing is, 100 points in one half, Scotland should also go ball, just if they score. Okay, so if they get to 150. I'm glad you said 150 and not 100. Because 100 could actually be on here. Oh, bit of an injury here. I believe that is... It's a big number, 6. What's his name? Gotta think of it. Bayella, I think it is. Bayella. And what a bet, says Xander. Wales senior is an 18-match losing streak. That is kind of impressive if you think about it, says Dan. Now, 20 seconds remaining. Bet locked in. Says Dan there. Now back across to the right-hand side. 150 is impossible. Why not 100? He made the terms. I just accepted them. You know? 100 would have been intriguing, but 150 was agreed upon. But now, drop ball there from Scotland right at the end of the half. I think that Scotland also had the penalty advantage there. Yes, they did. So one last chance for them in this first half. Oh, check. TMO's found something. Settle on 120. I don't know about 120. I'm happy with 150 at this current point in time. Oh. Oh, no. Scotland direct head contact. They might have a red card here. That's not good. And Spain is leading Wales 19 points to 14. Says Kiwi Rob. So Scotland 5, that being Charlie Moss. A couple of these young box speedsters would be a great plus for the Blitzboks. True. And perhaps we could see one or two of them making that transition. Oh. Okay, that tackle wasn't as bad as I thought it was. To be honest, I'd say it's a yellow at most. Well, that's interesting. So, I think the referee said he didn't see a huge amount of contact. TMO said, I can confirm that there is contact. Sorry, I meant beard, not mustache. Sorry, Hamish. Said Heather. Right, number 5 is going to be sent to the bin. I believe this should only be 10 minutes for Charlie Moss. South Africa now will have themselves a penalty. Right, referee just put him in the right direction. If Scott gets 2 red cards and a yellow, 150 is on the cards. Says Xander. I really hope it's not. Like 100 would be impressive. No, we don't need that 150, do we? But now, one has gone into touch, even a yellow card. Could still mean bye-bye here, says Sarah. I'm going to get to the weekend. I'm just going to have nothing left. I'm just going to be all just skin. And I once wore a mustache off to work, and I was fired. Says Cold Story Bro, and I need 150, says Dan, and here comes trouble. Go the block, hit them hard now. Says Heather there too. Now rolling towards the try line. South Africa, this rolling maul's looking very dangerous. Doesn't look like Scotland are going to be able to find a way of stopping it. It is still marching 2 metres out. Little bit closer. Where is the ball? There it is. It was close to the line. It's popped out on the side of Scotland. But I think that might just about be another try here. I think it was Schoolman. Okay. By the sounds of it, it was knocked on by South Africa and the ball was initially short of the line. Right, so on-field decision is no try here. Hamish quickly tuned in. I check the score still at work. Well, go Bockies. Says Sakabula. Yeah, they have certainly put it together in this first half. Just checking the grounding to see whether or not they have the 50 for the first half. I once almost had a job, says Dan there. Right, that looks short initially, and I'm not just saying that. We'll see it from this. Oh, it's close. That line doesn't look clear enough. No, it's going to be very hard to see. Do you live in Auckland? I'll have my daughter drop something off for you. Says Heather, I do not. I live up in... Or actually, I live down, in the South Island. What would she have dropped off, Heather? Out of curiosity. I remember when England got 130-something against Romania. Right, it's going to be no try. Knocked on, and that is now halftime. 45 points to the 7. And South Africa the team to beat. Says Shane. But yeah, very eventful first half of rugby. A lot of points being scored. 45 in total. For the South Africans, they need 75 at least. And the first half can't make 100 in second half, surely? No. I'd like to think not. That would be 20 unconverted tries. So, yeah. Yeah, they'd have to score about 13 converted tries in the second half. In fact, it might even be a little bit more than that. And why are we playing these games? We already know who's in the semi-finals. So why are we not just going into the semi-finals then, says Cameron? It is down because theoretically, Scotland can qualify higher from this match, and all of the teams play off in the playoffs. So it's top 4, of course, are the semis, but then alongside that, you've got the next 4 play off for 5th, and then the next 4 play off for 9th. So that's why they can't just cancel a game, because Scotland still theoretically could gain something from this match. And also South Africa could as well when it comes to the overall standings of who goes through to the semis. They could qualify as number 1. Something from South African. Commentary is brilliant, says Heather. And we can watch live. Rugby Pass is streaming live. So if Rugby Pass isn't an option, I'd assume you're in a country that has a broadcaster. So whether that's Sky Sport, if you're in New Zealand, or perhaps maybe DSTV, if you are in South Africa. And yeah, South Africa the team to beat. I think that they have looked really strong throughout this competition. Scotland again, a psychological trauma from this game, says Dan. But Hamish, we don't care about the 5th place and 9th place. It's a neutral country, so no home ground advantage, says Cameron K. But in the overall standings, now it's making me wish that I had got that other picture, because it had in terms of who plays who. But let's say, for instance, Scotland win this game, which they won't, but had they won this game, they theoretically could go above Australia, which would then mean that they've got a chance of playing off for the 5th to 8th place rather than playing off for the 9th to 11th, if that makes sense. So, you can't really just cancel games for fun because one team's doing very well. The other team still theoretically can have a bit of a chance. Scotland is going to come back second half, says Kevin. They're going to have to come back massively, but wait and see what their bench can do in this fixture. We will go like this and like that. These are the benches for these two sides. We have already seen Ian van der Merwe make his way onto the park. That is due to the injury of Moyo. He is yet to return, and we haven't had an injury update in terms of that concussion, whether or not he has actually got one just at this point in time. We have got there, they need to play all games. It's a developmental tournament. But the semi-final spots won't change, says Cameron K. They can, though. At the moment, the way that it sits, right, you've got South Africa have qualified, going through to the next stage. you have got France and Argentina not both confirmed just for now. Because theoretically, if England beat Australia and get a bonus point win, and let's say just for argument's sake, Argentina lost their game and didn't get a bonus point, then that would actually mean that England go through. Whereas if Argentina get close in their game up against France or beat them, and vice versa, two from Group B will be making their way through. Ireland versus New Zealand, theoretically, both of those sides can still go through to the next stage if Ireland finish number one, and then New Zealand get 2 bonus points, and then once again, if Argentina or France do end up missing out. So a lot can still change in the semi-finals. There's about 7 places or 7 teams that could actually find themselves through to the semi-finals just at this point in time, whereas Zimbabwe, they have fast runners. Zimbabwe is in Africa. Are you talking about like rugby-wise? And Spain ahead of Wales, 18 points to 14. And also, Sakabula, good to see you, says Dan as well. But yeah, it is going to take a big comeback for the Scottish if they do want to win this contest. A few more games taking place later on in the day. We are going to be covering New Zealand versus Ireland, which should hopefully be a very close game. And that will help determine who else is making their way through to the semi-final. One of those two sides will be guaranteed a spot. I'm just showing the F1, I believe that is, at the moment, or the Formula E. This is the semis, South Africa, New Zealand, France, and Argentina. Those are your semi-finalists. You can take that to the bank, go place money on it, Hamish. So what you're saying is those are the semi-finalists based on the results you think you're going to see this round. So in other words, you still have to have those games take place for those to be your semi-finalists. So these games have to take place. That's what you've just said. I think it's good for morale for a smaller team to finish 7th, for instance. They can never win the whole thing, but it's good for growing the game, says Dan Borta. And yeah, imagine being one of these teams and by that mindset going, hey, sorry, you're facing a team that's already qualified, so you're not playing anymore. You have to take this game off so that you can wait for your playoff match where you'll be maybe a little bit less fresh. We have to get correct, Hamish. Go place your bets. Okay, so you're confirming that you are in agreement that all of these matches do need to take place so that those sides can qualify for the semis. Appreciate it. Zimbabwe is in Africa. I was born there, but also grew up in South Africa, says Heather. And who's the next Irish? I assume it's next game for the Irish. They are taking on New Zealand in their group stage fixture. If Ireland win that game up against New Zealand, they will go through to the semi-finals. We're seeing some highlights of the first half tries. There were plenty of them. 2.5 for Yako Williams too. And Kenya Sevens' team has been excellent in the past. I wonder why they've never performed at 15 aside. And Springboks all the way to the final, says Pieter. And there as well, yeah, they are looking the goods at the moment, this competition. They've scored over 150 points, I believe, at this. Oh, no, not quite. They're getting close to that 150, though. And whereas Zim Heather, nicest people in the world, come from Zimbabwe and New Zealand to win, says Heather. And there as well. But also someone who was able to score a try for himself with the man in the front row, number 1, Ollie Reid. We saw, I believe, Schoolman almost crossed the try line, but might have missed out in the end. Malgas is going to be another try scorer. We saw one, Seb Stephen. France and New Zealand final if they don't play in the semis. So here's Cameron Kay. So, of course, it will be determined from the rest of the games who will be playing who in the semi-finals. Baby Boks are on fire this year. So here's Zinzan. And then you Dan born in Guillo. And also, if you were the coach of the under-20 Scots team, what would you tell them at halftime? I don't think you can tell them a lot. Like, at the end of the day, you're down by 38 points. Start fast. Go out there. You might as well throw everything into it. But at the same time, they've got another game in about 4 days' time. So you're also in that scenario of maybe don't empty that gas tank too far because, you know, you've still got another important game around the corner. So over under 20, having some good effort put into them has really been a good move, says Sir MC. And what was the score between the Scots and the Poms? So in that game, England were able to beat them 50. One moment. We'll go like that. Go like that as well. 56 points to 19 in that contest. We have seen 60% possession in favour of South Africa. They have beaten 17 defenders. Scotland beating 15, which is actually a higher number than anticipated. 5 penalties conceded, though, against Scotland in that game, or that first half. Word is out. South Africa has declared. Says Leslie. And hi, Daryl. And I reckon you need to play a semi to play in the final. Ask the Irish. I don't seem to understand this concept. Says Dan Borta. Yeah, a lot of tackles made by Scotland, 69 in that first half. And that may not sound like a lot, but when you consider the fact that there was a lot of open play throughout this contest, a lot of free-flowing rugby as well. Awesome to have a lot of Zim folks in the chat. Hi, everyone. Says Dan, and I would say these two sides aren't a mile away from making their way back out onto the field. Currently another game that has taken place. It is Wales versus Spain. And Hamish, your idea of reading 3 pages of Lord of the Rings every day is working. As the right balance, make sure I finish under a year. Thanks. I don't think I gave you that idea. That must have been someone else. I don't think I'd ever recommend to someone to read, but of course you're supposed to. It's supposed to be good for the brain. And geez, this game is going to be more than the Australian game. I say 94-15. Says Buddy there. It's on the cards, I think. It depends on how, because Scotland up against Australia actually did all right to a certain stage, and they still had a bit of gas left in the tank at the end of the game, but they, of course, were not down a man at that point in time, and also they were not down by 38 points heading into the second half. Are we hoping for a score of 150? We're not, though, are we? We only want, anywhere lower than that so that I can keep some here on my face and head. Now they're showing me burgers. It's currently 2:30 a.m. on a weekday, ladies and gents, so there will not be any burgers consumed for myself, which is quite sad, if you ask me. In terms of the first half players who stepped up, I would say for South Africa, of course, you've got to look at those wingers. Jaco Williams, Juster, out on the other wing had pace. Malgas and Cupeto actually worked pretty nicely as a midfield combo, considering a couple changes made there. Moyo going off the field early, I think, is a bit of a concern. And like I said, once we know the HIA status, we will be letting you know. I hope that it's not some sort of, because if it's a concussion, he's gone. Well, the rest in 2:30 is prime burger time, usually after a few beers, but still, says Dan. Yeah, sadly, there is no place in my town that is open later than 9 to be able to get a burger. I wonder if you could get a burger at 6 a.m. from a dairy or something. That's a bit of a risk, though. But we will be still awake at 6 a.m. in the morning. And also just the mustache off, says Heather. Yeah, I'm never going to be so clean-shaven in my life if I keep on ending up in these forfeits. Temuka, not in Temuka, no. Further south and smaller town. Risky Dairy Burger. Or Timaru, further south again. Timaru would have probably somewhere, the McDonald's in Timaru I think is open 24/7. But I don't know if you want a burger at 6 a.m. after start. That lady's got a sausage roll. That'd go all right. But yeah, second half, very close to starting in this contest, ladies and gentlemen. Will there be the 100 scored for South Africa? Do let me know. How do you rate the French in this tournament, says Bali? I would say, they've been pretty solid. At the end of the day, they've got the 2 wins under their belt. I think their first game up against Spain, people were expecting a bit more of a one-sided game. But, they're still up with a points differential of plus 52. They've got their game up against Argentina, which, of course, will be crucial. No matter what, both of those sides need to get at least 1 bonus point to feel a little bit more secure in the outing. And also, depending on what happens in that New Zealand-Ireland game, will then tell us whether or not they need 2 bonus points or just the singular one from that game, as there is a way that New Zealand and Ireland can actually both end up on 11 points at the end of the comp. I think they are just showing the under-20s highlights, and they're showing the England lift of the trophy last year. Now, sadly, that might be less of a reality for this season because of that loss up against South Africa. It's almost taken the English completely out of the running. We have got there who's your standout player of this tournament so far. I mean, Hasim Pede's definitely stepped up. Moyo as well. And then you've got, Juster. I know I'm just listing South Africans, but of course with this game, it's a lot easier to name the guys in it. Yeah, I'll probably go with one of those 3, though. as they've been very strong. There's no second half, just heard that Scotland has also resigned. Says Leslie there. Good afternoon from Arania Hamish. Welcome in, Gerhard. What's happening to Wales? Even under 20s are not performing, says Xander. And who's the player that's impressed you the most out of all the teams? I'd probably go one of those three that I just mentioned again. We were doing live commentary on the Lions versus AUNZ. We certainly will be. I have no idea what to call the New Zealand and Australia team, whether to just call them AUNZ or the AUNZ Invitational XV. It's got quite a long name. We say that each time. Have you ever eaten a hairy burger? You get them from a point on Point Road in Durban after a night, the 3:30 a.m. nightclub. Well, I've never been to Durban, so no. I've not tried a hairy burger. And Boks play at 5:10. That's South African time, says Dan. They certainly do up against the Italians in their second match. Scotland and South Africa now making their way out of the tunnel. Oh, commentators are not mincing words. They said that was an absolutely horrendous first half from the Scottish. Let's see whether or not they can get back into this contest now for the second. See Minto there in that number 15 jersey. Going round for Moyo. We have got the Junior Boks declared or Scott's thrown in the towel. Neither. They are both back out there ready to go for the second half of rugby. It will be Ian van der Merwe to kick this one off. When British game again, they are going to be playing at 10 p.m. New Zealand time on Saturday. And that is the game up against the New Zealand-Australian Invitational XV. And Lions 36 to the 24. Okay, they were just clarifying with both teams that yellow card will remain a yellow card for Scotland. Okay, so it means that Scotland will be back to 15 on the field in about maybe 7 minutes' time, somewhere around there. But van der Merwe to get us back underway. How many points can the South Africans get? How many can Scotland get too? Maybe they can find a way back into this contest a little bit. They did actually start the first half very well, all leaving that kickoff. And, I think it's gone dead. Jaco Williams thinks he scored it off kickoff here on the long kick. Scotland left it alone. Okay, Jaco Williams is really confident that he's been able to get that ball down, just like their older brothers. The Junior Boks will win the championship. And I thank the rugby gods for that, because I fear 3 tries will go before the 10-minute expires. On-field decision is no try. Oh, there's a steep. Oh, are there too many bodies in the... Oh, right. It might be on the dead ball line. Okay, it's going to be dead in goal, no try for Jaco Williams. I'm calling it 72 points to 14. It could happen. And when does New Zealand play? Says Fortnite. They are playing in an hour and 30 minutes time up against the Irish, and we will be covering that one on the channel too. 50 up, says Dan, almost. But it is now the 22 dropout for Scotland here. They will kick this one down past the halfway line, claimed by South Africa inside of their own half. Now charging forward, Matt Ramal. 50 not up, says Dan. Now back across to the right-hand side, van der Merwe. Cutting back in, Malgas. Goes to the man next to him, Cupedo. Gets back up to his feet. Oh, Scotland in the breakdown there, and they've got the penalty. I think that is Freddie Douglas. Yes, it is, who pops up with possession. Are you even tired? I've yawned a few times. The tiredness is kicking in a little bit. It is almost 3 a.m. here in New Zealand. Moss will be off for another 8 minutes. In fact, 150 are going to be beyond a miracle, says Xander. That's good news for me, though. Of course, I didn't really want to get rid of Mahir. Kick for the post, says Dan. Now Scotland, though, they have got themselves the line out. Will be Seb Stephen to throw this ball in. Just jogging over to the line out. Scotland actually took a wee while to get to that one. Possibly trying to conserve a bit of energy so that they can get that late burst going to the right-hand side now, though. Patterson, skip pass. Irvin in the middle. Now, back to the left. Patterson finds Duncan, but loose. Picked up by Scotland. South Africa in the breakdown. Trying to steal it. They've been told to use it. Patterson pops it up to will be Fife. What time is the New Zealand game? Taking place in 1 hour, 25 minutes time. 4 a.m. New Zealand time. 6 p.m. South African time. 5 p.m. for a few other locations around the world. Ball's loose. Knocked into touch by Scotland. It is now going to be the Junior Boks. They've got the line-out throw. Okay, they're just saying about that slowness of Scotland getting back up to their feet. They've gone over the top. Well claimed there. And just managing to get the ankle tap on Malgas. Out to the right. 25 metres out for the line. It is Jaco Grobelaar. Will New Zealand win the game? I think it will be competitive. Ireland probably haven't performed how they'd like to throughout this competition, but some would also argue that New Zealand haven't either. So that makes it that bit more intriguing. Now off to the left, Everson. Ramal popping it up. Now knock on. In fact, it's going to be counted as the forward pass. Scotland now have the scrum. So once again, first 3 minutes of the half, they have not gone awfully. There is still a long time to go in this match. We see there just the offload attempted to Jaco Grobelaar from Ollie Reid. Now 5.5 minutes. They're just talking about Ramal. He had 15 moments that he was involved in the Rugby Championship. And he is working extremely hard throughout this one. England or Australia? I think England should win that one. They have to win it with a bonus point to even have half a chance of going through to the semi-finals. But that is also other results reliant too. How much time left? Will Scots be able to get closer? See, as Rove, not with a scrum like that. They went backwards, but they managed to get it out of there. Now wide cut-out pass for Scotland near the sideline. I think that's one of the first touches for Cameron Van Wyk in this game when it's the semi-finals. They'll be taking place, I believe, on Monday here in New Zealand. So that will be Sunday afternoon for you guys in South Africa. Oh, charged down by South Africa into the in-goal area and could just force that one down for Irwin. Once again, that pressure still just building as the Argentina game at 6. Says Katsanel. I think it's 6:30 a.m. New Zealand time, so I'm not too sure what that would be in Argentina. But it is kicking off in just under 4 hours' time. I'm from New Zealand. Says Fortnight there. Now, goal line dropout for Scotland. 40 metres out from the line. South Africa again will get an attack. It's been a little while since they've scored in this match. Still sitting, of course, on those 45 points. But Jaco Grobelaar pops it up now. Going across. Nice hands there. Malgas showing the speed. One more pass on the outside. Juster. Oh, I think he got turned over. But did he still get the try? No, he didn't. I think Juster might have taken that one a tad too casually. He got past one man out on the wing, then just stood still. Rather than charging at the line, he was waiting for the next shot to come in. And yeah, tried to get that ball down, got turned over by Jack Brown. But now 6 minutes gone in the second half. Did New Zealand lose a game in this championship, says Fortnight? Not yet. They did draw a game in the Rugby Championship, though, up against Australia. But in this competition, they are 2 wins from 2. South Africa with Ramal again. Builds up some steam. 30 metres out from the line. Looking off to the short side. Skip pass coming from Van der Merwe to Jaco Williams. He has knocked that one on. Scotland now in possession. 22 metres out from the line. Trying to sneak through was Jack Hocking, who got the ball at the moment. Scotland have it 22 metres out from the line. Looks like an injury to a Scotsman after a late shot from the Junior Boks. Scotland to give it all. Just to keep the score low, says Cool Story Bro, and Boks going to keep it up at a point a minute, says Pike and Eggs. Where do they play the Under-20 Championship? So they are playing this one in Spain, which is why the time zones aren't the best for us here in New Zealand. Lots of ball from Bali. Lots of love from Bali. So yeah, they're welcoming. What is the time in Bali at the moment? I feel like I ask that quite often, but I always forget. I think it's like 6 hours behind New Zealand, maybe. Oh, loose ball. Picked up by South Africa. Now, Robala bounced past there, chipped in behind. This has to be a try. Little bit of a push and a shove there from the South African 9, trying to win the foot race. They will go back for where it was originally kicked. In fact, no, they'll go back for the initial penalty going the way of the Junior Boks. 10:40 p.m. Okay, so 4 hours behind. Why are these games so very lopsided? Some of them are close though, and that's just the reality of a Under-20 Championship that involves sides from all around the world. Like, it's no different to the Rugby World Cup, for instance. We saw a lot of one-sided games in the group stage of that competition. It's no different to the sevens when we see that, and one-sided games in their groups. Unfortunately, there's always going to be some. I think I just heard the TMO try and jump in to talk to the ref, and then I don't think the ref actually heard him. As England a good Under-20 team, they were the defending champs, and they'll definitely be gutted about losing their last game to South Africa. To South Africa. Right, 1 minute remaining of Moss's yellow card. And thanks for your honesty, Hamish. See you later. Says cool story. And 10:40 the time in Bali too. But currently, it's been probably 10 minutes 40 or so, even maybe longer, since we have seen a try from South Africa. Rolling maul now, though, could certainly lead to one. Scotland. I think I was about to say, I think they somehow kept that ball in there, but it was dragged down. Hello, Hamish says, Byron, welcome in. And every time these boys go at halftime, they come back making stupid mistakes. Says Whiff there. Oh, it looks like they're going to take the quick tap now for South Africa. Can Scotland plus 49 handicap win this? It'll be tricky. I think they're 1 metre short here for South Africa again, passing across to Jaco Robala. He was turned over, but yeah, he's held up again. It's about the third time Scotland have actually managed to hold up South Africa in the in-goal area. So perhaps that is something that a lot of these other sides in the comp will have to take notice. Did you go to work today, Hamish? I did go to work this recent day just been, and I do have work today because we're currently 2:40 a.m. TMO has become a vexation, pure frustration, says Katzenel. But now another goal line dropout here for Scotland, who are still defending inside of their own half. They haven't really been able to exit it in the last while. It's going straight to Ramal. We'll pass it across now to his teammate Van der Merwe. So they have actually made another change off the bench too. And that number 23 jersey, Malgus, driven into touch. So that is Dimitri Erasmus, who has made his way on. What time do you got work? Says Fortnite. Luckily, I've been able to negotiate to the afternoon. So I'd say probably at about 1 o'clock, I'd say, by the time I finish that All Blacks lineup video. And so I'll be announced at around 12:15, maybe. Now, 10 minutes already passed in the second half. Not a single point has been scored by either side. Scotland rolling maul inside of their 22. You just get that feeling like it's going to be all of a sudden a breakaway. It's either going to be a whole heap of tries for the South Africans, and that could be a good start because that ball has been passed into touch by Scotland from Hector Patterson. Right, number 7's being subbed here. Is that going to be Freddie Douglas or is that Matt Ramal? Okay, Khilkhani onto the field. That is for Matt Ramal. So I would say with taking him off so early, he's probably done enough to earn a spot in that semi-final lineup. Once the Boks score, the floodgates will open. Says Paken, but another penalty goes the way of Scotland, not releasing in the breakdown from South Africa. Now ready to boot this one downfield. Is this going to be the first time they exit their half in this about 11-minute period? Just making sure that it went out. What is the attendance like at the games in general? For these ones, I'd say probably 2,000-3,000, maybe. Yeah, it's not a massive crowd for these matches, unfortunately. But, like, still a reasonable crowd. I think it's more on the near side, to be fair. The far side doesn't look very full. Now, thrown in. Taken by Scotland. Cross to the right. Oh, big shot. Coming in on Jack Hocking. Across. Logan gets a little bit further forward and off the feet for Scorman. So the penalty does go the way of Scotland again. Who do you want in this All Blacks team, says Fortnite. So I've given my Scott Robertson prediction. And my team, I was going to initially do my own personal side. But I realised that my team probably only had about 2 or 3 changes from that Scott Robertson one. So I thought it might be a little bit repetitive if I had released that. So, yeah, I think my big change would be Will Jordan stays at 15 and Amoni Narawa goes on the right. But I don't see Scott Robertson doing that, as there's a chance that he does look at a couple other options. Oh, the man with the bagpipes is playing again. The last time that he played, we saw Scotland score a try. So they have taken that one. Back across to the left-hand side. Can this fire up the Scots? Find a way through. Yes, says Yanev there. Back across to the left-hand side, and Bok will hunt everyone down. And Jordan is incredible, says Dan Botti. Yeah, whether he's playing on the wing or at fullback, he is certainly a handful. All close to the turnover there on the breakdown. And South Africa do get it there. Currently 53 minutes through. Still the same score as it was at halftime. I just said there that Jack Brown fell right at his feet there. Now kicking this one towards the sideline. So Moyo has not returned, ladies and gents. And we'll have to wait and see. Oh, that one. Was that kick dead? Yes, it was. Trying to go for the maximum distance. I think Van der Merwe feels like it did actually go out in the field of play, but he is being told otherwise by Ben Breakspear. Now another scrum. Scotland inside of Bok territory. One try in this half would certainly bode well for them. The fact that South Africa haven't scored in a little while, though, some of our predictions, the likes of mine, I've got that 45. I'd like to think that they will score more tries than that, but we might not be a mile off. Timothy's prediction was 55. South Africa 47 for Marinda, so if they had got one more kickover was a possibility. Steve had 52. 52-13, other than the fact that I don't think Scotland would take threes, might not be a mile away. There's also Scotland 22 for South Africa's 48 if South Africa decided to go for a three-pointer somewhere along the lines. I lost some momentum a little bit. I feel like Scotland have started to play a little bit more cohesively in the second half. They're not making as many mistakes, I don't feel. There's a problem with the senior side as well. They drop their intensity and expect an easy path, forgetting that these guys have their national flag on their chest, just like they do. So here's Bali. But Matthew Irwin kicking it into touch. Only 25 minutes remaining. Mistakes on top of mistakes, says with Neva there. Roll 1, 3, and 9 for Scotland. So Ollie Reid, Jake Shearer, Jamie Stewart, and also Hector Patterson will be taken off. It's a bit confusing hearing Van der Merwe being called for South Africa against Scotland, says Fleshen. And they have also got their own Van der Merwe in this lineup, the Scots. Oh no, so they got Van Wyk, my apologies, out on the left wing. And Bok must get 60 plus, says Yanev. Maybe preserving energy, it could be. Oh, managing to steal this one now, 30 metres out from the line. Scotland wanted that steal, unable to quite secure it. Now kick downfield from Van der Merwe, looking for the 50-22, but will curve back into the in-goal area. Picked up by Scotland, who looked to run it forward. Man lining him up. Tackle made low. And South Africa trying to get straight into the breakdown. Denied there, though, for Kubeka. Now, Stephen. It's got a bit loosey-goosey out there, says Mark. Boks will click soon again. I think 21-point flood. Well, that's the thing. They still have some great players off the bench. Does South Africa make it to the quarterfinals? Quarterfinals, they do not have them in this competition. It is instead going to be straight to the semis. And yes, at the moment they have confirmed their spot, and it's just unconfirmed who they will be playing in the next stage of the comp. On out throw now. We've gone about 20 minutes without a point being scored between these two sides. And 52 of them in the first half. Skip pass. Great hands from Mento. Now down the wing. Tries to fire it back infield for South Africa, but claimed by Scotland off the loose offload. Now, chance here for South Africa in the breakdown. Looking to get the steal, but Scotland hang on. Who's going to actually score? I feel like it should be South Africa from that first half, but Scotland just aren't really giving up. And they've had a couple where they've held them up already. And this after-star was unforeseen, says Dan. That's the thing. If Scotland score 3 tries, one of which is unsuccessfully converted, that will be the exact score that I predicted. But I doubt South Africa can go this whole half without scoring any points. In fact, for them to not even be at 50 by now, I feel like was really not seen in the forecast. Looked like maybe Freddie Douglas in the background for Scotland might be down with a bit of an injury here. That man is playing the bagpipes once more. Playing the flower of Scotland. I don't think he's done it too much throughout this game. I think this is the only time outside of when he thinks Scotland might score. We can kiss 150 goodbye. I think we can kiss 100 goodbye at this stage. In fact, even something like a 70 should be on the cards. Complacency, says Barlia. No, I reckon it will break open. Something has to give, says Dan. You'd think so. But we're still waiting. It seems like it's right on the verge of it, doesn't it? Either South Africa are going to find a breakaway like they did throughout that first half, or perhaps that Scotland can find a way through. And it may not quite get them back into this match, but I feel like it would still help them out a little bit confidence-wise. They still have more games of this Under-20 Rugby Championship. They will be playing on the same day as the South Africans. So one of them will be in a semi-final and the other will be playing off for 9th to 11th, or 9th to 12th, sorry. 69-12. Prediction there from Bali. Last 20 bench infused. Boom. Now South Africa have got the ball. Over the ball there though for Freddie Douglas. No, can't quite steal it. And Al Klakhani. He's one that you got to shut down early, and Duncan has done just that alongside Logan. I'll drive him back again for Erasmus. Back across. I do still want to know the extent of the Moyo injury, and I feel like we're not actually going to get to hear it throughout this game now. Going to the short side, out wide. Chance, Yako Williams chips it in behind, and again, just a little bit too long on that one. It's twice now that he's almost been able to score in the in-goal area for the second half. If South Africa didn't score so much in the first half, they would have been in danger, says with Never. And also, Scots can't get momentum, says Roof. Yeah, they've just struggled to get out of their own half throughout all of this game. And, you know, it is something that they'll look at, and they'll look at tactics for this game and wonder what went wrong. Right, time is going to be turned off now. Looks like Matt Ramau. No, in fact, this time, sorry, Freddie Douglas is still down with a bit of an injury. It's gone into a lot of breakdowns throughout this match. And we look at there, how many points do you think the Bockies have left out there so far? I'd say 2 or 3 tries they potentially should have scored and didn't throughout this game. I think that Scotland have probably left a try out there too. Some decent chances, but yeah, I'd say South Africa probably still a little bit Like, only slightly, though, disappointed in their finishing throughout the second half. I think they've had about 3 times that they've either been held up or the ball's just gone dead. And 75-14 from Janley there. Lots of fight by these young Scots and too much kicking. Has to be accurate if you're kicking behind, says Ruth. Okay, I think we were just hearing that the TMO was just wanting to check something alongside the referee. Sounds like everything's going to be cleared, though. Okay. Just being told there by Ben Breakspear to either sub him. And it looks like maybe are they going to? Oliver Duncan. Okay, time is back on. It'll be a different game when they meet the All Blacks. Oh, little quick 22 dropout taken by Scotland, who have opened up a bit of space. A cheeky play that gained them 60 metres. And now they are in position inside of South Africa's half, looking for the skip pass out wide. Rush defence from South Africa. The last thing Scotland can afford, though, is to be isolated. You see 45 only, says Ruth. Yeah, although, I'll be honest, the way that they were scoring in the first half, I don't even think 45 was a possibility of not coming up by about 50 minutes. Close to the sideline, offloading back on the inside. Oh, Halakane gets over the ball. Scotland just a bit of hesitancy when it came to joining that breakdown. I can understand why. I think it was the replacement halfback who was left to try and clean out Klakane, who had about a 30 kg advantage over him. Like I've said, just a very difficult man to get out of that breakdown. But again, South Africa will kick this one towards the sideline. We have now gone about 25 minutes without a single point between these two sides. This is definitely not people or what people would have been predicting for the second half. In fact, when was the last time that we had points in this matchup? It was when they went up to 45. So that was at about maybe, I'm going back even further. They've had 45 since 35 minutes-ish. So we have gone about 25 minutes. Oh, another knock on from South Africa, not clinical. In the second half, a lot of metres lost by Scotland, so they may go back for the scrum. In fact, they will now. Wait, what? Okay, never mind. That was the quickest advantage we've ever seen. Definitely when a side loses 20 metres and the ref has awarded the try to South Africa. I think they've got a little bit lucky there. The Junior Boks advantage for a knock on. I believe it was against South Africa. Scotland continued to lose metres, jumping on the ball. Then from there, it did look like the first initial Jackler did miss his chance. Then it still popped out on the backside of South Africa, who then go on to score. So they have just broken the drought, ladies and gentlemen. And no way. We can see that coming, says Dan, in 35 minutes. Says Piken. Yeah, the try will stand for the South Africans. Not a single replay being shown, and probably for good reason. Now lining up this kick. And it does go over. 59 points to 14, says Blitz. And there's one nice one, says Dan. Oh no, here we go. Now we got the replay. No, we don't. Never mind. They've gone for the replay just from the start of the run. And 30 minutes, no points. Not even a penalty. And also finally, says With. The number 9 scores it. Been working hard all throughout the game. Everson, big smile on his face. A ref couldn't take it anymore either, says Dan. He decided we just have to break the chain in this one. And the chain has now been broken, so perhaps the floodgates will open too. And poor unlucky Scots, says Ruth. Now taken inside of the 22 for South Africa. Big fan from Klakane. As they take him down, Scotland wanted the turnover. Ref says no thank you. Now JJ Theron has made his way off the bench. So I believe South Africa have now almost emptied their pack. Other than, I don't think Nibalele is on. And also we haven't seen a Hashim Pete. Nice prediction says all reality show. One's going to be banged into touch. Now Scotland have got themselves the throw. Right, and it does look like now the change is no. Is it going to be made? It looked like it was for a second there. And here comes the momentum shift. Okay, so Scotland just get told off there by the ref, saying that they need to go back to how it was at the start of the game and trust the ref to do his job. So obviously there was a bit of talk about that last breakdown with Ben Breakspear. Joe Roberts, he now makes his way off. Nice take there from Stephen close to the sideline. Referee got tired of no score. That was a big mistake to select Fundermerva at 10 and not Carl Stain, says WLK. Now rolling this one back. Been told to use it again. Close to the sideline. Oh, left alone there. It's going to be the advantage though. Cupeto, he went for it and then pulled out, but now chance here on the counter-attack for South Africa. Numbers on the outside. Now Rasmus charging forward. He's been smashed in the tackle though. Now pick and go. Little grubber attempted, picked up again. South Africa sneaking through, and that will be the try for Linde. And that looks like maybe an injury for one of the Scottish players too, either in his leg, perhaps cramp. But do quick fire tries on the bounce. There's my favourite lady, says Blitz there. And nothing got their way, and nice, says Dan. Once again, just counter-attacking there for the South Africans. The flick pass, the assist goes to Everson. Oh, that's either cramp or he might have actually just done his hamstring. He has not got back up to his feet though, the Scottish back. And Everly starting to think Boks going to win this one. Says Bruce, and emotional damage, says Dan, and beautiful try, says With. And come on the box, says Graham. And there as well, but the kick is successful. It's now going to make the score 57 points to 7. Looking so dangerous. Who scored this time? It was scored by the number 8, Linde. And open up stable door and horses bolted, says Ruth. And if these Boks make sub changes, it is the Pube squad. I tend to agree with you, Bruce, says Dan. And thanks, Blitz. You're pretty sweet. Says Ruth there. Another change being made for Scotland. In fact, multiple changes. It is going to be Bart Godsill. Makes his way on. And that is for Fife in the number 4 jersey. But now South Africa inside of the 22. Scotland once again just can't quite get that steal that they've been after back into the pocket. Not the best pass. But can boot way downfield. A nice game, says Simon, and so much for the group of death. The Junior Springboks are finding it way too easy. Says WLK. Oh, kicked him behind. Now Scotland. Possession 30 metres out from their line. Looking for the step. And Average looking superb today. He's up all night giving us great commentary. Beautiful. Says Ruth. Now Pierce driven backwards. Scotland have just struggled to make metres outside of those line breaks in this match, I would say. But now, kicked high. Chance in the air. Mento does knock it on. Scotland in possession. And they'll go back for the penalty as well here. As Scotland just haven't got it together, says Ruth. Yeah, they have just struggled to find any sort of advantage throughout the second half. There was a little patch where they had about 3 penalties in a row. That was when they had to score. They weren't able to. Long second half, Amish, says Ruth. And yeah, it is a good thing for both of these sides that the temperatures are not as hot as it has been in Spain. We look at there, Hamish must have taken some no-dos. Says Blitz. Oh, I'm certainly feeling the tiredness. Initially, we were just going to be doing this match and then heading to bed at a relative, well, not a decent hour, but it would have been 3:30ish. I decided instead to do that Ireland versus New Zealand game too. I couldn't be showing any bias towards the sides that we were covering. And still convinced Hamish is a vampire. Says Dan Borta there. Now rolling Maul. They are just saying here that South Africa have a good chance of having the 4th seed in the semi-finals, which will be the best second place team to make their way through. Thanks for your commentary, Hamish. And how is it? 59 points to 7. They've played very well throughout this game. South Africa, another turnover coming for the Blitz box, for the Junior Boks. Now, Fanamurva, get downfield again. And Hamish drinks pure water, no snoozy for him when he's back-to-back commentary. Sears Roof bouncing awkward ball for Scotland down the short side, sliding near the sideline. And I think his foot was in touch. Yes, it was. Oh, no. Okay, penalty goes the way of South Africa for Scotland asking for a penalty. Referee says, nope, I'm not having any back chat, penalty South Africa. And Hamish's machine says Blitz. And Australia will win, says Fortnight. Yeah, they've got a big game up against the English just around the corner. We will be covering that match on the channel too. So anyone who is new, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Ball put into touch by South Africa again. I have to say, for a man who had to make his way onto the field probably much earlier than anticipated, Fanamurva, it's done not too badly from the replacement fly half roll. Scotland gave up on playing, trying to officiate. Says Dan, and when what's been the place kicking average? Need good place kickers to come through the Wedding 2. Oh, we're back. Hello, ladies and gents. Yeah, if he hasn't passed it, then that will be a big hit to have for the South African team. I hope that this will be the last time we see of Willie LaRue, along with Salman Umbarambi and Mako van Staden. We need to be looking forward now. They have played their part, and we thank them. And also thank you for the commentary and work you do. The greatest game on earth. Hamish says the breakdown. We do appreciate you being here. A little kick in behind from Scotland. Will lead to a lot of space. Now Mento at the back, missed tackle on him. Will kick it off his left boot. Let's keep the ball alive. Pure water tonight. This is not the 150 box. Says Xavier, yeah, they really slowed down in the second half. Like, it seemed like 100 was definitely on the cards, but it took them 25 minutes to score points after that last try of the first half. Love the commentary. Says Dan, now passing across. Now picked up by South Africa, though. They have still got time to get a couple more tries up their sleeve. Waiting for a halfback. In the end, was actually their number 6 who had to play. I never got to hear the answer. Breaking transmission. Says it was there from Bruce. Now running on the outside. Inside pass. It was flat, but it was backwards enough. And the try for Everson gets himself his second. He's still not getting the start, though, in the semi, I don't believe. I think they'll go Hassim Pede every day of the week. And congratulations to the Junior Springboks going through to the semis. Says Raymond, and they will more than likely be facing whoever finishes. Oh, Mento getting a bit of ice on his knee in the back play. Hopefully he will be all right. But, yeah. And they'll be facing whoever's the best second place team. Which is actually the answer to David's question I see there. I'm just joining who the Boks possibly face in the next round. So they will not face anyone who's a number 1 qualifier unless France win their game by a larger margin than this up against the Argentines. But the most likely occurrence will be that at this point in time, if we look through at the tables going into this contest, South Africa will either rematch England if something goes really drastically wrong for Argentina in their game and they don't get any bonus points, or same with France. In that scenario, they could end up playing New Zealand if Ireland beat New Zealand with a bonus point and then New Zealand get 2 bonus points from that game and go through as the best qualifier. But more than likely, they will face the loser of France versus Argentina. So there's a lot on the line. We could actually see France versus France versus South Africa, or a rematch of that under-20s Rugby Championship. Great commentary. Says, thank you very much, but currently 8 minutes remaining on the clock. Scotland still have not quite given up in this game. They've got the penalty this time. Place kicking average, says Bruce. I know that Moyo was kicking at around 85-90% for the South Africans, but he was pretty much the only kicker that they have been using, and now he's injured. Or could be injured. We have to wait to see whether or not he has placed his or recovered from his HIA. So Kiwi, if we win here, who do we face? Like I mentioned, probably more than likely the loser of Argentina-France if they get bonus points along the way too. But we can still see South Africa play about 4 or 5 different teams in this competition. Will France game be live tonight? I will not be covering it, but it is kicking off in around 3 hours, 30 minutes time. Or 3 hours, 20, I believe it is. Now thrown in. Hasim Pede has now made his way onto the field. Now off to the left-hand side, chance here. Logan goes across, bit of a spin there from Stephen, 2 metres out from the try line. Alicante can't quite get that steal. Scotland now across to the right-hand side with Will Pearce. Now good stepping again. Bagpipes playing in the background. Pick and go. No, in fact, going to go across it over the line. And it's Noah Cowan who does score. In fact, no, sorry, that would have been Oliver Finlayson Russell, I think is his name. Hopefully they pop it up. There it is, Oliver Finlayson Russell is the number 20. Bit of a tongue twister, but he has scored the second try of the match now for the Scottish. And awesome Junior Boks, thank you, Hamish, says Heather. And darling Robert, how's your side doing? Yeah, good finish there from Scotland. Just haven't quite been able to do that enough throughout this one. Those bagpipes sure do have an effect, although he was very strategic that time. They were 2 metres out from the line and he started playing. So, you know, the first time when he did it, they were like 22 metres out. So I feel like it was a bit more impressive. But that time, you know, when they're right on the line, and they should have more chance to score than not. What you're doing after the New Zealand game, I will be sleeping for about 4 hours, then getting back up to do the New Zealand line up for their game up against the French in the second test, and then I will be going to work for the kind of lunch to evening stage. And then I will be hopefully getting a big old sleep after that, because I feel like I do need it. What time is it for 4 hours from now? Says Fortnite. So after that New Zealand game, it will be about 6-ish, and then I'll probably be asleep hopefully by 6:30, and I'll have to get up around probably 10:30 just to make sure. Cable still goes in and out in the internet. Says Robert. Now Scotland, 5 minutes remaining in this match. They are sitting on 14 points, so we've had a total of 80 throughout this fixture. Back across to the right-hand side, another gap opening up for Scotland. Alicante does make the tackle there though. Scotland seem like they've gotten quicker in just the last little kind of 3 or 4 minutes. They're actually playing with a bit of intent here. It's as if they want to be the last team to score. They got work to do. See you later. Says Bruce. And Hamish Works Construction. Then good rest, you deserve it. Says Roof there. Now Luke Pearce. 5 metres. Back into the pocket again here for the Scottish. Throwing the dummy pass was Kuryul. The Boks still on the field. They are, but they have not been as effective throughout the second half. Just scoring, I believe it is now 3 tries, which is still quite a few. Like 3 tries and a half is really good. But, you know, when it's backing up from 45 in the first half in terms of points, it just feels like we've had a little bit more of a competitive second half of rugby. We have seen Scotland score once so far. Yeah, just in the breakdown was the penalty against the Junior Boks. Hamish looks like a carpenter. Says Blitz there. You end after this. So we'll be ending the live stream after this game, but then we'll be coming back in around 40 minutes for the next contest, which is New Zealand versus Ireland. So be sure to stick around for that one, as it will also help confirm who South Africa will be playing in the next match. Now, little short pop pass for Scotland. Now 5 metres out from the try line here for the Scots. Can they get another back across to the right-hand side? This isn't how South Africa will want to end this match if they end up with another try conceded in just the final moments, because we've got to remember, this is a trend that we saw for them throughout the Under-20 Rugby Championship, almost in the corner. No, it's a knock-on from Scotland from, it would have been Jack Brown. But, yeah, it's something that South Africa have been guilty of throughout the last little while, is that knock-on at the end, or sorry, not the knock-on, but the lack of points at the end of the game, you'd like to think that would not happen in their semi-final, or else, that can be a bit of a concern. Currently 3 minutes left. Will be the scrum feed for South Africa, only 5 metres out from their try line. You lie 3:40, not quite. 3:55 is when that next one will be starting. So I'm 40 minutes from now as when we will be back. I have to try and wake myself up in between these two streams. I yawned a few times on this one. It's been a busy day. But that next game is important for both of those two sides, New Zealand and Ireland. I can't let so many points get away in a close game, says Dan. Yeah, and I think it is something that they'll look at and go, right, how can we close out that game a little bit stronger? And I guess in this scenario, maybe they're just not going to, show it. Maybe they're saving a few things up their sleeves. You working today? I will be, yep. Swear Rugby League 5 or whatever the new game called is actually good. I'm a rage because rugby needs a good video game. When does it come out, Xavier? Rugby League Live 5. It's very soon, isn't it? You also a member for 16 months there. Greatly appreciated, of course. Melbourne Rebels flag. Bring them back for an invitational game at some point. Because are they playing in the NRC? I never really found out the answer to that one. Do they still have an NRC team, or is it just gone completely? I think the mindset of we got this in the bag is the culprit for these poor finishing tendencies. Says Kim Trade next week, says Fortnite and Scotland are useless. 66 points to 14. My prediction was 75-14, almost there. Says Chanley. And Hamish doesn't curse enough to be a carpenter. You'd be surprised. Now 2.5 minutes left. Get effing after him here, is what we've heard from the Scottish front row. They look like they've learnt some bad words. Now the commentators have to apologise for the poor language. Now 2.5 minutes. My forecast was 66 points to 14. I will say every prediction that we had in the first half was wrong. No one predicted for South Africa to have this many points. Are you going to sleep? I will not be. We've got the New Zealand versus Ireland game coming up just around the corner. What will the score be for the New Zealand game? I think it will be a lot closer than this. I would say split by less than 10. And by everyone, that's the commentary. Hamish, see you soon. Now, 2 minutes left on the clock. Scotland again going off to the left-hand side. Skip pass out wide out to James Brune, but it was forward. Are you very good on this channel? Giggle, giggle, says Robert there. 100 seconds left. Not a lot of time at all for these two teams. I think South Africa could still get one more. The amount of time that's left. An upset Scott swearing, says Ruth. And we have got the no 150, sadly. NRC isn't a thing. Hasn't been for ages. We apparently got asked to join that new rugby global league, but I don't know. Ooh. I think I'm showing my age. I thought the NRC was still going, but I guess at the time where the Fijian draw left it, that was about when it ended, maybe, in that case. Yeah, it would have been interesting seeing them in a global league for the Rebels, because, that's the thing. Their last season, they did so well in terms of their highest ever finish in Super Rugby, so it was just a shame that that's how it ended for them, that it was almost on the high. Now off to the left-hand side chance here. Thank you very much for your donation as well, Xavier. It is greatly appreciated. Almost breaking through, and it's going to bring another try for the South Africans. It's Hassim Pede who does score it. And one of the most informed players of this competition, and thank you for doing this. Says Mohadina up to this weekend. We've got plenty of live streams that will be taking place. And Xavier the Bomb says Roof there, and also Scots can still win this, says Bali. But yeah, this should use up the rest of the time on the clock. I said 70, says Mohadin. And also, so weird to see the score. How many channels do you have, Hamish? I've got one that's active, I would say. We've got the Kiwi Lad Sport, which used to be our backup, which I haven't uploaded on in ages, which I really need to. Or at least maybe have it as some sort of backup streaming one. And then there was a Kiwi Lads Reacts channel that lasted one video, and then it kind of disappeared. Right, the clock is just about to be finished. In scoring this contest, it's 73 points to 14. P player of the tournament, says Kanye. He's got to be a long way towards it. But the big concern for South Africa in this game, what is the injury extent of Moyo? He took a knock to the head. He went off for an H. And did not return. My apologies, ladies and gents. My mouse, it has a button on it, which is a back button, and I accidentally bumped it, so I just left, but I'm back now. Hello. We'll get the scoreboard back up in a very short moment. I didn't realise how sensitive that was, and I didn't even realise that that would kick me out, but yeah, the thumb bumped the side of the mouse, and it said, see you later. But we're back. 2 points short of my prediction, says Chanley, and if France win by 74, they end top, says WLK, so it will certainly take a monumental effort from the French, and Argentina would have to play absolutely terribly for that to happen, but you never know. In these under-20 games, perhaps there'll be that little bit more motivation now for the French, knowing exactly what they have to do. I thought my cable went out, says Robert, and France won't score more than 40, says Bali, and there too. But nonetheless, next game that we are covering will be taking place in 34 minutes' time, ladies and gentlemen, so we will be back for that one, of course. It is New Zealand versus Ireland. Anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you all for the next one, plus throughout the weekend for much more rugby that is also taking place.